Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Sistas in Crime with SistasinCrimewithShiandToy. Y'all already know my name is Shy, and that's short for Shamia.
And y'all already know I'm Toy, short for Toya, short for Latoya.
That's
But
why I was thinking, did
listen,
I do my introduction right? I can't, it's okay. Y'all know who we are.
yeah, listen. One of us, if I feel like every week one of us messes up our names, we know our names, y'all.
We know. We've
We
had them
know 'em.
all our lives. It just happens. But y'all know who we are. Oh my God, you're so
Check
silly.
out my background. Okay,
That's really cute. I
a
ain't
lot
never
of
seen
hard work. Shout out to my daddy though. Okay, so
it.
go ahead, boo.
So, y'all, thank y'all for joining us. So, we are here with another episode, another true crime episode, a very chilling story, the story of Megan Kanka. So, if you've never heard of Megan's story is what triggered the development of Megan's Law, which makes it mandatory for a sex offender to be, you know, that to be made public if there's a sex offender in your area. Many people, it's been very controversial. I feel like me personally, I feel like it's amazing, but it has been, people have, felt, that it was an invasion of privacy and, different things like that. But we're not going to get into that. People can feel, the way they feel, but, it's whatever. But y'all, today we're going to talk about this case. So if you aren't already subscribed, please subscribe to us, Sisters in Crime with SistasinCrimewithShiandToy on YouTube and also TikTok. We upload little clips on TikTok. So for the ones who just like a little taste of it, but not a whole video, please go watch us over there. But if you do have the time and you watch us on YouTube, thank you so much. But yes, click that subscribe button, click that notification bell so you can get updates on when we upload a video. We upload every Thursday at 1 p.m. on YouTube. And we do our clips also on Instagram. We also have an Instagram, Sistas in Crime with SistasinCrimewithShiandToy on there as well. So we're going to get into this case. First, y'all, let's just be honest. There's a trigger warning. Of course, we are talking about sex offenders, R word, the R word. We're talking about that. So if those topics trigger you, and I completely understand, this may not be the video for you, but we have several other videos you can watch. We have a after show that we do where we talk about current events, that have happened. So we have plenty of other content, but just wanted to let y'all know up front before we get into this case. So this all started in 1994. It was around July. A 7-year-old named Megan decided to leave her house around 6:30 to go out and play with her friend, as she always did. Now, her parents, Richard and Maureen, they, never had a fear about their daughter going out to play. This was normal. They felt like their neighborhood was safe. They knew the people around them. They had no issue. It was like a quiet community. It was actually in Hamilton Township, like in New Jersey. So they knew the area well. It was fine. No worries. She went out to play. So her mom laid down, I guess, to take a short nap and rest. So when she got up, she noticed that Megan was not at home. So when Megan didn't return home, of course, her parents go out, in the neighborhood and, they're asking, have you seen Megan? She left around this time. Have you seen her? And a few of them said they did see her playing, like before dinner, playing outside with her friend. I think her friend name was Courtney. Now, one neighbor said he saw her. She was riding a bike. They stopped to talk to her. Well, the kids stopped to talk to him about his boat. He had just purchased a boat and it was in front of his house, but he indicated he did not know where Megan went after that. So at that point, the family's panicking. They call the police. So the police arrived almost at 9 o'clock p.m. They searched the home, searched the property, no sign of Megan. So of course the parents are panicking, which, I mean, can you imagine?
Rightfully so.
Panicking about your child missing. Of course, I have definitely understand that. So no sign of Megan. As a part of the search, they did speak to all the neighbors. They interacted with every single neighbor, hoping that would give them a break in the case. So there was a man that they talked to that lived across from Megan. They said it was about 30 yards. His name was Jesse K. Temendequas. I think that's how you pronounce his last name.
Listen, you
But
got closer than me.
right. So, I that's my first and last time trying to pronounce it. So from here on now, I'm just gonna call him Jesse. You just gotta know who I'm talking about. All right. So Jesse told the police he did see Megan riding around 2:30. Now, police were a little perplexed with this because everybody else said they seen her about 5:30, 6 o'clock, 6:30 range, but he's saying he saw her at 2:30, which wasn't correct. So they knew that Jesse was the neighbor that Maureen had asked, had he saw her. So the time, the math wasn't mathing. So immediately they kind of like, what you got going on? Like, why are you lying? So of course, the family's still panicking. Exactly, red flag. She has her red flags. I don't have mine today. I can't even remember where I put it.
Red
I gotta
flag.
clean up. So for the ones who are listening and can't see us, she's holding up a red flag. We hold up red flags when the math ain't mathing. All right. So Jesse actually, like I mentioned, lived across the street with Brian, Janet, and Joseph. I think it was 3 other people. I can't pronounce their names either. So it was Brian, Joseph, and Joseph's mother. So their house, like I mentioned, was 30 yards from Megan's home. So the police, got suspicious of Jesse. So they decided they wanted to search the home. So Joseph actually owned the home and gave them complete permission to search the home. They went through. They asked Joseph, like, where were you when Megan went missing? He said, me and Brian were out shopping while Megan disappeared. And he actually had receipts to verify that. So after the police spoke with them, they spoke to Jesse again, and they noticed that his demeanor had changed. Like, he was shaking, he was sweating, throughout the course of the interview. And they was like, what is this about? Like, why is he sweating and perspiring and getting musty and stuff like that? So police asked him to give a statement, and he came to the station and he agreed. So in a written statement, Jesse, like I mentioned, gave very conflicting information based off that night. He said in the statement that he saw Megan at 6:30, but previously he said he saw her at 2:30. So okay. So police requested permission to search his car. He agreed. The police found a brown toy chest and a black felt in the back of his pickup truck. Now, my sisters, for the ones listening again, she has the red flag up again because, again, the math ain't mathing. We got some stuff going on, that we need to investigate here. All right. So next, my sister's going to pick up because now we got some issues. Jesse got a toy chest. He ain't even got no kids. So I don't know why he got a toy chest. Okay. All right. And then he lied. Right. Then he lied about the timeline. He saw that baby. Okay. So now my sister is about to get into the search and all of that. So you take off, sis.
Before I take off, let me throw a quick plug in there. My mom also helped me with this firewall. My mama getting her feelings. I gave credit to one and not the other. She also helped me with this.
As she should.
I forgot about that. Love you, Step. Okay. Back to the case.
We love Step.
We love Step, but she do be in her feelings. Okay, so police searched the boat that was outside of Jesse's home and the garbage cans. Now this is a tip for y'all. I'm not telling y'all to commit no crimes, but one of the first places they gonna check is that garbage. Okay.
Yep.
So in the garbage, they found a rope with some knots tied in it and what appeared to be dry blood on it. They also found the waistband of a small pair of pants, and they believe the pants belonged to a child. At that stage, Jesse was still being questioned at the police station, and they asked to speak. He asked to speak to his roommate Brian. So they brought Brian in the interview room, and then Brian tells Jesse, they got you. They got you. You're going to need a friend on the outside. I'll be that friend. Just like that, police got their confirmation. And unfortunately, it was not the outcome they expected. So they press Jesse a little more. Jesse tells them she's in Mercy County Park. Now, police were hoping and her family was hoping they would find Megan still alive. But Jesse told them right up front that Megan was not alive. She was deceased. When, they went to find her, did the medical examination, they found out that she had been, this is trigger warning, she had been sexually assaulted and murdered. But Jesse did, where he told them her body was, that's exactly where they found her. So they charged Jesse with capital murder, aggravated assault, as well as kidnapping. Now, at his trial, the full extent of what happened to Megan was just put out on the table. So I guess he figured he wasn't getting out of it. So he just pulled all his cards down. It was the prosecution's case that Jesse had been watching Megan for months. And again, trigger warning, they knew this because Jesse told the police, he said verbatim, I had learned my attraction to little girls was the softness of their skin. And
That is
he
chilling.
actually, disgusting.
Yes, that is
Okay.
disgusting and chilling. My God.
Quick side note though, why y'all can't find grown women with soft skin? Because I've heard men say that before. They'll be like, oh wow, your skin's so soft. Who y'all be talking to?
Yes. Yes. There are
What?
several women who have soft skin, so why do you need to touch a child? That is wild.
That is disgusting. That
Yes.
is like what?
Yes.
So okay,
Yeah.
I don't want to stay there too long because that's
Yeah. That sends chills up my spine, not in a good way. No.
not at all. I fear for our children.
Right.
So
I'm not laughing about that,
but
but
yeah. So he said, as far as him watching Megan for quite some time, he said, I would get sweaty palms and my heart would race. I would go back into the house. Additionally, he said, this is quoting from him, a lot of times during the summer, she would be sitting on the curb across the street. She would write with chalk in the street. She would wear shorts with no panties, and I would see this. Why are you looking at this baby minding her business playing outside on the sidewalk anyway is beyond me.
that's insane.
So, the prosecutor told the court that after he had been watching Megan for some time, basically stalking, he eventually made the decision to lure her into his home, and he did this by promising her that she could see and play with his new puppy. No, we know this is the MO of a lot of pedos, molesters, but he actually did have a puppy. Now, unfortunately when Megan did go into the home, Jesse forced her into his bedroom where he attempted to sexually assault Megan, but Megan began to scream. She tried to run away, but he stopped her. So he said he had to strangle her with his belt. And while doing so, there was a struggle that ensued. And Megan, unfortunately, hit her face on the dresser and then she hit her head on the floor. So while she's laying there bleeding, he puts trigger warning, he puts a plastic bag over her head to stop the blood from getting on the carpet. Now, during the struggle, Megan did fight back. She put up a hell of a fight for her to be a little 7-year-old girl. She bit him on the hand. The teeth marks were visible on Jesse's hand. And later they had a forensic dentist come in, and the forensic dentist was able to match up the teeth marks on the hand to Megan's teeth print, her mouth print. So after Jesse strangles Megan, he begins sexually assaulting her, and then he put her inside a toy box and carried her downstairs. When he put the box in the trunk, he told authorities that he thought he heard Megan cough. So there was a possibility she could have still been alive. So he drives to Mercer Park. He took Megan's body out of the box, and then he placed her body in some tall weeds. Once he did that, he sexually assaulted her once again. Okay? So he left her there, then went to a convenience store to buy some cigarettes, and then he went home like nothing ever happened. All right? Now, the prosecutor told the court that, what Jesse had told the police and tried to explain the reason why he had killed her. And he said he was afraid that she would tell her mother, and then he would get in trouble and go to jail. And I don't want to say go to jail, go back to jail. Okay?
Okay. So let's stop there.
Yes.
So you were scared that Megan would tell her mother and you would go back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
So you murdered her. Did you not think that you would get caught and go back to jail? Like,
There was no thinking here at all. There was no thinking on his part
obviously
at
his
all from
mind's not
beginning
right.
to end.
Right. Like, obviously his mind's not right.
Yeah.
Based off what we're discussing today. But you were fearing that you would go to jail, but you didn't think you would go to jail for murdering her?
For
Okay.
murder?
Right.
Because, people just get off on murder. No.
No.
And I hate, I don't want to be, I hate when, especially in today's society, everything is blamed on mental illness. But the way I feel, if you are attracted to a child, something got to be wrong mentally.
Yes. You
Something
need to
has
go to
to be
therapy
wrong.
and be rehabilitated. Yeah.
You need all the therapy. That is so disgusting. Yeah. So, in addition to his confession, they found other evidence, which, they found blood and hair sample portions of Megan's clothing in the garbage cans that were outside Jesse's home. There were strands of Jesse's hair that were on the shirt that Megan was wearing when they identified her body. And also, hair that was matching Megan's was found in Jesse's bedroom as well as on a piece of carpet in the house. So, the prosecutors told the court basically Megan became a walking, talking piece of evidence. Like, she knew him, she could identify him. He knew it, and he had to get rid of that threat. And so he did, which that's exactly what he said. Like, he couldn't go back to jail. So the autopsy showed that Megan what she went through based on the injuries. So she had I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, petechial hemorrhages in both eyes, which is normally a sign of death by strangulation. There was a ligature mark on Megan's neck, consistent with the leather belt found in Jesse's room. Megan also had bruising and contusions under her chin, which basically is consistent with an object or hand placed on her neck. There was blunt trauma to her eye, which was caused either by a fist or striking the head against an object. There was bruising on the back, arms, and legs, which was consistent with Megan being held on her back with someone on top of her. She had bruises on her colon and right kidney, which is indication that, there were separate blows or somebody's weight was on top of her. And she had a tear in the hymenal margin and penetration of the vagina caused either by a finger or penis. There was 2 tears in the mucosa covering the anus, indicating penetration as well by a penis. And there was severe hemorrhaging caused by 3 separate blows to the head with a blunt object. Now, with all that, ultimately the ME determined that the cause of death was strangulation with the leather belt. So that would have constricted the oxygen to Megan's brain and would have caused her to become brain dead within 3 to 4 minutes. Okay. Now, as far as Jesse's defense goes, his defense lawyer said a confession A so-called confession and admission is not different from any other evidence that will be presented to you. You will be judging the credibility of those statements. They had no witnesses, and their case focused primarily on the argument that police managed to cajole the confessions from Jesse, which I think is ludicrous because Jesse's friend Brian came in there. And y'all, I don't know, like, do y'all not know them conversations be recorded? And
Yeah.
Brian told them, look, man, they got you.
They just be just spilling it all out in these
Yeah.
confessional rooms. Like how do you
And they
even
want to say
say
it was
that?
coerced, though.
Right. Because really, like you mentioned, sis, like when his friend came in and said, they got you out, you need a friend, and I'm going to be that friend on the outside. What you need to be a friend to him for? Like, what was that
I'm going to
about?
tell you in a minute.
Hmm.
I'm going to tell you in a minute why he want to be a friend. So, of course, Jesse was found guilty. Thank God he did spill his guts. He was found guilty. And now the next task was to decide if he should receive the death penalty or not. Now, of course, the defense said he should not receive the death penalty because Jesse allegedly had a troubled childhood. They told the jury that he was an unwanted child who was beaten and raped regularly by his father. So, another thing to understand is a lot of times in cases like this, the abused become the abusers. So, that very well could have been the case, but does that excuse his actions? Hell no.
No.
So, Jesse read a statement to the jury. I'm going to read it to you really quickly. He said, okay, I'm sorry for what I've done to Megan. I pray for her and her family every day. I have to live with this and what I've done for the rest of my life. I ask you to let me live so someday I can understand and have an understanding why something like this could happen. Now, the prosecution told the jury they just wanted one thing, and that was justice. Amen. Amen. So the prosecution said that on behalf of the state, we do not beg, we do not plead, we do not implore, we ask for justice. And in this case, justice should be death.
She stood on it.
10 toes down. Okay.
She stood on business.
And guess what? The jury did too, because they sentenced the boy to death. Okay.
Yep.
Now, back to Megan's family. So the Kankas believe that their daughter Megan was safe that evening. It was a bright evening. She had been playing with friends, something she did just about every evening. Like, I remember when I was a child, we used to all be outside playing. Like, that was appropriate for the time, because at this
Yeah.
time, Megan was 7, I was about 5. That was
Yeah.
appropriate for the time.
Yep.
So, you know, they had friends on their own street, as did Megan, and it was very quiet area with families, nothing crazy. They, their 2 other children, they had 3 altogether. So Megan has another sister and a brother. They would be outside playing on the street as well. So the thing about it, though, is what they did not know is that, there was a sex offender on the street. So Richard and Maureen never knew Jesse was a sex offender until the murder happened. And at the time, he had already served 6 years in prison for aggravated assault and attempted sexual assault on a completely different child. Apparently, in 81, Jesse took a 5-year-old girl into the woods and pulled her pants down. Now, they gave him a suspended sentence for that. And in 1982, he was found guilty of attempting to sexually assault a 7-year-old girl that he choked into unconsciousness. He was sentenced to 10 years in prison for that and was released after 6 years because of good behavior.
He should have never been released. Good behavior? You released this monster for good behavior?
That's my thing.
Yes, good
Because, of
behavior.
course,
Okay.
he's going to have good behavior. There's no children in the prison where he's at.
Exactly.
He don't want no grown, rusty man. He likes children. So, quite naturally, he's not going to act on anything because he's not housed with children. He's not around children.
No.
Y'all
And y'all
dropped the
just
ball.
y'all just forget why he's in there. Like,
yes,
him having good behavior, not, fighting anybody, whatever you determine good behavior is in prison, you just
Yeah,
neglect the fact of why he's in there. That's just insane to me.
right. So now we're going to get into a little bit as to why that friend said he would need a friend on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So once Jesse was released after only serving 6 years out of 10, he was supposed to do 10, he only did 6. He moved into the street the house right across the street from the Kankas.
Mm-hmm.
And those friends that stayed with him, they were also sex offenders.
Oh my God.
They were all in jail together.
Oh my stars.
So basically they got out, moved into one of them. His mom, she had a home. I think it was Joseph. His
Yep.
mom had a home.
Yeah.
So they all just moved in with him and his mom. And they were all registered sex offenders living right across the street from his family.
That is insane. I did not know that part.
Yeah, that's why he was like, you're caught, because I think, this is my speculation, they were attracted to these children as well, but they just did not act on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like they knew something. And, when when Jesse confessed, like they didn't have any other choice but to give up the gig, like the gig was up. So now, of course, quite naturally, as with any real parents, this pissed Richard and Maureen off. Okay. Now they
Absolutely.
fought and lobbied nationwide,
Mm-hmm.
excuse me, y'all, to protect other families and children after Megan's murder. So they basically wanted a law that would notify people as to when a convicted sex offender moved into your neighborhood.
Yes.
So they got over 400,000 signatures to sign a petition demanding immediate legislation on the law, and it became known as Megan's Law. So it only took 89 days. New Jersey passed it into effect.
Mm-hmm.
And shortly after that, more states began to adopt Megan's Law. They were able to go to the White House with President Bill Clinton. He signed the law as well. So, um, unfortunately, Jesse is still in jail. However, in 2007, his death penalty sentence got commuted over to life in prison without the possibility of parole, because at that time New Jersey basically abolished the death penalty.
Insane.
Now, since this case has happened, there's a lot of people who kind of have, like my sister said earlier, like an issue with Megan's Law, because it reports everything. It kind of lumps people together, regardless if you actually sexually assault a child. There's also people on there who urinate in public. So if you just urinate in public, you can run the risk of ending up on the registry.
If
So
you
y'all
have
be
sex
mindful
in
of that.
public, yeah, if you
Yes.
have sex in public, you can be placed on there. And
Yeah.
that was where the controversy came from, because, they have 3 tiers. They have tier 1, which only law enforcement knows who they are. All right. Then you have tier 2, and they have the schools and the police and like daycare workers who are aware in the area, if there's a sex offender. And then there's tier 3, who
Hmm.
everybody knows. I think law enforcement immediately, if someone moves into the community that is on tier 3, they are mandated to go out and like deliver flyers and stuff to notify that community, like this person, this individual is moving into the community.
Hmm.
Now the issue is, people who are on the registry, they say it's a violation of privacy. Now many people, because it could pose risk, for them moving in that community. They
Hmm.
could be killed. You know, they can have one. I was watching a case today where it was a sex offender who moved into a community, and the community found out they attempted to burn his house down with him in it.
There was
So
another case I think happened recently where this guy found out there was a registered sex offender living in his neighborhood and he killed him.
yeah, yeah. So that did pose a risk, but at the same time, I'm just sorry. If there was a sex offender in my community, I want to know.
And how about if you don't want people to have that reaction to you, how about let's just not
Let's
molest
just not do it.
children?
Yeah,
Let's just not do that.
yeah.
But now, like I said, urinating in public, like if you really have to go to the bathroom really quick and you pull over, urinate in public, police see you, you can end up on the registry. So sometimes, like, people jump the gun when they see people on the registry. Like, it's never a good thing, but there's different circumstances. Like, there are some
Yeah.
states who even, like, they'll put, like, let's say you have teenagers, regardless if they're the same age or not, and it's not statutory rape. If teenagers are having sex, they can end up on the registry in some states.
Hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, so I understand both sides, but then again, I don't, because I feel like we do need to know,
Yes.
especially with where the world is today. It's even scarier than it was when Megan was alive. So
Hmm.
we need to protect our children at all costs. So we do need to know. If you have a problem and don't want people busting down your door, how about you stop touching kids?
Exactly. Yeah. Because people, like my sister just mentioned, like this is a different day and age. You will get knocked off out here. Like,
Listen,
you know, eh,
touch in
and
one of mine, I got the muscle too.
yeah, like, and I'm just sorry, like, I'm just sorry, I don't believe in the violation of privacy thing.
Mm-mm.
Even on the moderate, like tier 2 level, like that's still pretty bad.
Yeah,
Um, like you're categorized as somebody who will be a repeat offender,
yeah.
So, because one guy, like, again, I was watching that documentary earlier and he was like, I did my sentence. He went to prison, did his sentence. He went to therapy, like 10 years of therapy. He's been rehabilitated. He has a good job now. He owns his own home, pays his own mortgage, and he works with the public. So he feared that, you know, it might be a possibility one day that someone might leak that information and then, you know, he might end up without a job, But I'm just sorry, sir. Like,
It's the nature.
touching
Like,
kids?
I'm sorry. Like, sorry, but not sorry.
Yes.
I mean, and great if you're rehabilitated, then amen. But people still should know, because there is still a possibility that you could reoffend.
You can relapse. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Like, I don't feel sorry for you, bro.
Yeah. Oh,
Stay away
yeah.
from children. Stay away.
Yeah.
Stay out them school zones. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And the reason we wanted to do this real quick before we wrap up, y'all, is because this case was brought up in Megan Thee Stallion's song.
Yeah.
When she was like, these hoes ain't mad at Megan, they mad at Megan's Law, and that was like a jab at Nicki Minaj because her husband apparently is, yeah, something that happened. I ain't gonna get into all that. Something happened when her husband allegedly was a teenager, but it doesn't matter. Like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, that was in the media recently. And for those of you who really follow true crime and you've heard of like the Amber Alert, Megan's Law, like these are stories based off real people. So we thought that was a good one to cover for the true crime. It was a little heavy. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. It was a little heavy this week. But it still is good. The more information you know, the better.
Mhm.
So
Yes.
do we have any final closing thoughts, sis?
Yes. So one thing I want to add is recent news, Megan Kanka's dad allegedly wants to sue Megan Thee Stallion for this, for, talking about this law in her song. Now, everybody has different opinions, but I'm not trying to be ugly or disrespectful, but I don't know how you're going to hold that up in court, honestly.
Right.
Honestly, in my opinion, you kind of need to thank Megan Thee Stallion because she shed light on that law. And,
Hmm.
not many people knew about Megan's Law. You
Right.
know, it exists, but not many people knew. So
Right.
now everybody's researching,
Hmm.
Megan's Law, like, what is this? And like it just resurfaced. Now people are educated, like
Yeah.
where, the public, where that came from, where it says the public needs to know about sex offenders. So honestly, I think, I understand they are still hurt to this day. I totally understand. But in a way, you kind of got to thank Megan,
Hmm.
I'm just sorry.
She did, like,
Yeah,
with her diss and her platform, she did shed light on it, because a lot of people,
yeah,
like you
yeah,
said, they were unaware, and now they are, and now they
yeah,
know your daughter's story. So I
yeah, yeah,
personally, my heart goes out to them, but I don't think he's going to get anywhere with that lawsuit. But I
yeah, yeah,
understand why he
yeah,
would be upset. I
yeah.
get it.
I understand, with the words that are, present in the song. I totally get it. If he felt disrespected, I get it.
Hmm.
But I don't know if that's going to stand up in court. I don't know.
Right.
But
We'll
anyway,
see. And
yes.
if it does, we may come back and do an update in the after show,
Yeah. Yeah.
So y'all stay tuned.
Yes.
So this one, we couldn't put too much humor like our normal bubbly selves into this one, because ain't
Yes.
nothing funny about it at all. But
No.
if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching and tuning in. Please don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow us, talk to us. We do respond.
Yes,
We're
we
on
do.
TikTok and Instagram. Sisters in Crime with Shot and Toy. We love y'all.
Yep.
And we'll be back next week with another one.
Yes. Peace out, y'all. Peace and blessings and lots of love and light.
My heart goes out to y'all too. Bye, y'all.
Bye.